Well, Eric, let's start with the easy one. How'd you feel things went today?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think, especially in today's era of college football, I don't think spring games are coaches' favorite right now. I think you're always trying to build depth, obviously, is something really important. But then at the same time, after 14 practices, we've had some guys separate themselves that we know are going to be really good players for us today. And so you want to get out there and be clean and efficient and be able to put a show on. And so I thought it was a little bit ironic. We took a shot at first play and Drew threw, his first pass, and Boone Pickens was an interception. But I thought that's how Drew is. He responded so well and started throwing some darts out there. And so never phased after it. Cam Epps, I think, was the one who made the play down the field. So phenomenal job by him going and making a play, the very first play of the game. Thought we settled in offensively. Probably didn't get the running game going as much as I would have liked. Caleb's had such a good spring. And he had some good tough yards out there and scored a touchdown, but really didn't bust one open. So we'll have to go back and watch the film on that. It's fun to see some of the explosiveness in Chris Barnes and Bowick on the outside. I mean, those guys have had phenomenal springs. And then, defensively, I thought watching our edges right now, I mean, that's really what sticks out to me. Watching James Williams come off the edge, Jaleel Johnson come off the edge. I think that's going to be something that's going to be a strong point on our team this year. Just that position. I mean, we feel like we got 7 or 8 that we can go out there and win football games with. And so, without really going and studying it, watching it, I thought our linebackers tackled well in space, a lot better than the first one. And so, no crazy injuries today, which was awesome. Got out there. I thought both sides did some nice things. Got some situational work in on special teams. And so, all in all, I thought good day. I mean, I think we got close to 100 plays, which was what our goal was today. And so I thought it was a successful day.
With Drew in particular, you mentioned kind of bouncing back, but did you kind of see what you sort of expected to see from him once you got past that first one?
Yeah, I thought so. And, the only thing, Wyatt had a couple early drops, which is so uncharacteristic. And two, I think this is really good to put them on the stage in the stadium and to work some nerves out, some anxiety out, right? And these guys are still kids. I mean, they're still growing and learning. And Wyatt's third year playing receiver. He's a phenomenal player. And so he took it hard on himself, you could tell. So I was happy he found a way to get a couple catches late and get in the end zone. And then too, just operationally, you could tell, a bunch of our young guys that haven't played a ton of football, you could tell they were nervous out there. And just the look on their face and pregame. So I thought, to get them out there and to get some of that away from them, the crowd was phenomenal out there, the support, and so it was fun to get everybody out there and just see where we're at right now, and we can go back and really evaluate spring, what we're doing well right now, what are some of the really key emphasis that we need to get better on, and now that we have our team, no second portal window, I think we can really start digging in on how to make this a complete roster right now.
You talked about Wyatt, but Chris Barnes and Miles Coleman both played really, really well today, getting in space and having some catches. Was it kind of what you thought from the speedier guys out there on the outside?
Yeah, those two are really electric. I mean, those are guys that ran, I think Chris Barnes ran a 10.2 meter, 100 meter dash in high school. Miles ran a 10.5, so they're electric. They both played a ton of football. They're older veteran guys that will rely on that speed, right? And so I thought really good 1-2 punch. I thought Miles was really good over the middle, caught some tough balls, got some key first downs for us. And then that's what we got, Chris. I mean, that speed, everybody saw it running down the sideline and backed up, and a great read by Drew and put it on the money down the field. And so, yeah, I think they'll be key contributors to this offense and so fun. I just got to find a way to get the ball in those guys' hands in space. And so, obviously, super vanilla today on both sides. I mean, I think that's something that generally happens and knowing that, we got to go on the road to Tulsa week 1 and never knowing who's here, who's filming, who's whatever. We want to obviously put on a good show, just see who wins one-on-one matchups, no game plan, and just running some base plays today.
With, I'm sure you probably want to look at film before you assess offensive line play today, but over the course of the spring, what have you seen from those guys as you kind of try to put that group together?
Yeah, I think the ones have been really good. And two, we have 3 tackles that are out right now that we anticipate are going to be key contributors to us. And so with Braden Nelson getting a little banged up, he should be back. And then Ashton Lepo, precautionary reasons, didn't go today. And so those are guys that we think will probably be in our starting rotation. And so, but I thought the 5 there, and then, we got to continue to develop depth right now. And I think that's all over college football. I think that's something we're seeing in the transfer portal era is how do you keep the backups and keep developing kids behind them. And so it was good today. We'll have to go back and assess how the two group did. Like, obviously, our ones moved the ball a lot better than our two did today. And so yeah, we're going to continue to develop depth, but then getting those 3 tackles back is going to be huge for us.
Do you feel like you kind of know who the 5 are and where you want them, or is that something you think, with those guys out, do you think y'all still have to evaluate?
Not yet. I think that there's 3 that have that they're going to play for us and done a good job. We just had to move people around so much with the injuries, and so I think having 5 guys gel together is really important up front. And you want the chemistry of the guy next to you you're making the calls. Learning to play together is really important on all the double teams. And so hopefully, by scrimmage number 1 in fall camp, we'll have the 5 solidify where we're going to play them and allow them to kind of grow together.
All of the unknowns, Coach, 5 months ago, right? Staff, roster, university personnel, and then getting to know so many people outside of the football system, right? Just how do you feel right now? Just relief that it came together in the way it did, or did it exceed in some ways maybe what you would have hoped for?
First and
In terms of
foremost,
putting it all together in 5 minutes.
yeah, first and foremost, I think Stillwater is a magical community, and I think the way they've embraced not only me and my family, but the staff and the players has really helped the transition with these guys, making them feel like this is home, right? And I think everybody being friendly and even outside of football, right? And developing relationships in so many different areas on campus, donor relations, relations with the media. We're an open book, and so I'm really happy where we're at right now and extremely lucky to be here in this situation to help grow this place into something really special and compete for championships. And so we have a lot of work to do before we're ready to put our product on the field and drive down to Tulsa. But I think the strides that we've made, I'm really happy with the progression of it. And I think most coaches are all about the process, are process driven. And I really like how our team's coming together right now and the way that they love one another, play for one another. And so really satisfied all in all where we are, 5 minutes into it.
Have you had one day in that 5 months where it was a complete disconnect from Oklahoma State football, or has it been an everyday for 5 months process for you?
Yeah, every day. Hopefully my wife and I can get away sometime soon. Coaches will go on the road next week to start recruiting the next class of high school kids. Already have official visits that are happening right now. Started that this weekend, and so it's a 365-day a year job, and I knew that coming into it, right? And so the easy part is the people I work with every day, and it makes it fun to come to work. The kids make it fun to come to work. I mean, we had a free youth camp today. I mean, so much fun for me to walk over there and see 300 plus kids working with our players and giving back to this community. So I think that everybody's embraced each other at a high level, and super happy where we're at. Got a long way to go to put together the championship pieces to it.
If any, I want to ask you, just the importance of this first summer here at this program. How important is this summer, and do you have a plan for what you guys, in terms of recruiting, in terms of building the future with this next couple of weeks, couple of months?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on, and I think the cool thing now is there's not a second portal window, so we can really go back and evaluate where we're at as a program right now. I mean, I think we only have 6 guys left to come in that are true freshmen, which is really, really rare. And so happy that we got everybody here and we're working towards something. And so the developmental piece is something that we've always been really good at in our program. So continuing to build off what we do good. And then I think really offensively, defensively, and special teams, we have a really good grasp of what our players can handle both physically and mentally now. And so then you go and you design the playbook for them to have success, right? And every year I think that looks a little bit different on offense and defense. And so it's good to see the specialists out there too today. I mean, those guys have a lot of experience, to have SMU starting kicker come over, played in a ton of games, and to have a punter come over, the all-conference guy from Stephen F. So a ton of experience out there. Just continue to bring and kind of, work on the things we're not doing well.
And the responsibility and accountability of the players this summer. I guess you place a lot of that on them to take what they did this spring into the summer months. It's all on them to get better. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a lot more access than what there used to be for us as coaches to continue coaching these guys, especially the month of June. And so, you're allowed to actually do some on-field football stuff, have some meeting time as long as it fits into your hours for the week. So we'll continue to do football stuff, continue to grow them. I think to grow them mentally is equally as important as physically, especially during the summer. And we have so many new bodies, so to make sure they're on the same page and that they know their assignment and that we're not just ready to go out there and turn them loose quite yet. And so that'll be a bunch of what's involved in June. And then July, I got to get the coaches out of here. These guys need a break. It was so much going into the bowl and then really putting this roster together. I mean, they haven't had a break really since we started football season last year. And so after they get off the road recruiting, June, we'll do a ton more high school recruiting and then developmental stuff here in-house. And then hopefully they can go find a beach somewhere and put their feet up for a couple weeks.
The consistency with your staff, how important was that with everything y'all were able to accomplish this spring? And are there things about this spring that maybe you were able to get done or do that even felt different from previous ones?
Yeah, I think the consistency with them, and then also bringing 22 guys with us that knew what we expected, that could help set the culture in the weight room, that knew the verbiage, that knew the playbook, knew the calls. I think, those are like having extra coaches out there for us. So I didn't have to spend a lot of time of teaching my coaches, hey, this is how we practice, this is why we're doing things. It was more like we could get straight into it because we had already been together for so long. And so I think it allowed us to really focus on other things as opposed to me. They know what I expect each and every day, and they know how we run the program from the inside out. And so the one thing that's been a little different, we have a lot more people as far as support staff and support roles in recruiting and operations, all those different things. So it's taken a little bit more time for me to really get comfortable with delegating a ton of stuff. And I hired a lot of really smart people. And so I'm not a micromanager at heart, but still you want things to run the right way day in, day out. And so I've spent a little more time than what I have in the past at really organizing our support staff roles.
When you guys got Chris, did you know that he was going to play on the outside, and sort of how is that aspect developed?
No, we didn't know. Super explosive, obviously really good in the return game, and any way we can find ways to put the ball in his hands. So he'll be a guy we'll really start moving around when we start game planning for people. And so he's been a little better on the outside with his stature than I thought, and has really tracked the ball really well on the deep stuff. And so obviously, continuing to find ways to get off of press coverage with a really good long corner out there will be something. He doesn't have quite the length, and so. But yeah, he's been a little bit better than I expected. And then obviously having Miles and Wyatt in the slot and them two being so dynamic, when we kind of put it all together, we're just trying to get our best football players on the field, and he's definitely one of them.
Was there any part of today that was maybe just a little bit surreal, just knowing where you started from and kind of getting your first taste of, life, a game here at Boone Pickens Stadium?
Yeah, I think it's been surreal for me, really every morning when I walk into my office looks over Boone Pickens Stadium, and so I make it a point every morning to go open the blinds and look and just realize that my responsibility is to make this place great again, and for the people that love this place. So I don't take that lightly, and it's a great reminder every single day. So it was cool for me finally to walk out and see so many fans on the south side. I still have to, I'm not used to this east and west field yet. I'm getting there though. And so so on the south side was full, and the energy in there and hearing the crowd, the roars after some explosive plays was a lot of fun. And so I'm not a huge, and I get why, I do kind of want to get rid of the no shirt thing spinning, at some point, we want to be, so it ran its course in my opinion. There's some people up there doing it, but we're going to be winning too many damn games and not be something that somebody can be on TV and make fun of us for something so that is, in my opinion, something that I would like to kind of push out at some point. And I looked up there, a bunch of grown men with their shirts off. It got me distracted at one point.
What was the idea for the mustache?
Yeah, so my wife's not happy at all about the mustache right now. So my 5-year-old he wanted me to grow a Pistol Pete mustache, and obviously it's not a great mustache. I realized that, and so my wife has promised me that we'll have to shave this thing off after the spring game, and so it's caused a little bit of ruckus in the house. My 5-year-old loves it, and wife hates it. So.
Did you have jitters today?
No, I think I was just more excited, right? And two, obviously knowing a bunch of these guys and wanting to see these kids be successful. And I think, and I talked to them in my team meeting this morning. It was all about, hey, like, there's no reason to have anxiety right now. Like, let it loose. Like, football's still a fun game that you want to go out here and play with your brothers. As soon as it becomes a job for them and it's not fun anymore, I think that's where you put too much pressure on yourself. And so I was just super excited, and I think I still get butterflies, though, walking out there and me just being a competitor. That was a cool experience to be out there, and then too just imagining, the first time we walk out versus Oregon and the thing's packed here at Boone Pickens for the home opener. That'll be something that'll be one for the ages.
Where does the program's reputation? I'm sorry. What is the program's reputation today? You think versus maybe 90 days, 100 days ago? Because so much word of mouth or ESPN rankings, the momentum. Where do you think the program stands with regard to its overall health now versus junior?
That's a great question. I think that's why I love the sport so much. I was always small in stature, but you have to go out and prove yourself each and every day. And I think this is the greatest team sport in the world, and still is today. And you see the cool stories coming out now in the landscape, how much it's changed. And you see a story like Indiana, what they were able to accomplish last year. And so we have a lot of really good pieces on this football team right now to be super successful next year. At the same time, we're not built right now that we can walk out and just walk through this thing and beat anybody on our worst day. So we have to continue to come together and play great football. The energy's been phenomenal. I mean, I think we've got a lot of great press, but that goes backwards in a hurry when we start laying some goose eggs out there on Saturdays. So getting these guys really engaged and continuing to grow together, lean into one another this summer. I mean, I think that when I think of Stillwater, I mean, in this program, it's a tough, gritty place that, we go out there and be extremely physical, and a place nobody definitely wants to come and play on our home turf. So we got to do a great job creating that home field advantage this year, both fans and players. Obviously, I know that's partly us putting a great product on the field. And so super excited to get to that point, though, here soon.
Do you have any guys that either exceeded your expectations today or just overall this spring?
There's been a lot. We talked about the defensive ends earlier. I think when you look at, the safety position and those guys coming along right now has been good. Mose has been phenomenal, tackled great in space, made plays. The corner position, Fields, I thought had a really nice day tackling today. And that's really good to see a guy come up and be physical. That's not his MO out there. He's on an island all the time, super fast, long, and rangy. So really happy with his progression. And then I think the two linebackers, Ethan Westlowski and Romney in the middle, have been really, really solid this spring. Running back's been a little bit by committee, trying to figure out, who's going to help carry the load with Caleb. And so it's been fun to watch, Moody come out and have some really good practices. It's been good to see, William Mason out there getting some tough yards. Trey Page is super explosive. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been fun to see the progression of a bunch of guys on this team.
Obviously not Drew's first rodeo in the system, but how have you felt those other three quarterbacks that progressed this spring?
I think Brody's done a really nice job. Just thinking the kid should still be in high school right now. Probably has the strongest arm on our team. I mean, can really whip it. Didn't get a bunch of great opportunities today to really showcase that. But really happy with where those guys are right now, and Coach Brophy does such a good job at developing those guys, and so split them up today. But yeah, I'm happy with where our backup progression is right now.
You mentioned culture.
About, 5 years, 5 players playing 5 years. 5-year clock starts. What's your thoughts on that, especially when you're a development coach like you are?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, just 5 for 5. Let's make this thing easy, and let's just cut off all this extra years and talk about this and all these injunctions, and you look up and somebody's asking for a 7th year and 8th year. I mean, I think it makes it cut and dry, and let's say, hey, let's do 5 for 5 and roll them out. The hard part is when you do that, and now, people are going to come back and say, they're going to sue somebody right now. It's like this whole thing, everybody wants to sue everybody right now. But I do think it'd be beneficial to just cut and dry 5 for 5.
You mentioned culture earlier. Because you did bring players and coaches that were so familiar, was it easier, you think, to build culture, or where do you think you stand at that point right now?
Yeah, I think so. And I think one of the most important ingredients to building a culture is the weight room, in my opinion. It's always been that way. And I think just back to the longevity of the guys that were here before us, and Coach Glass was such an instrumental part of that, right? And the toughness and the grittiness, and talking to former players, like, I mean, that was real here, and Coach Glass was so good. So us bringing Coach Keggins with us, who's a former offensive lineman, teammate of mine, and has the grittiness and the attitude to be able to still hold the kids accountable and discipline them when we need it, right? And we're all in this thing together, and so we have early morning weight lifts with the guys right now, and if they're not here on time and they're late, they have to pay some pretty heavy consequences. And so even I think in this era of obviously the financial piece of it, the transfer portal, some coaches have gone backwards and gotten a little bit softer on kids, I think, and I've honestly probably gone the other way and a little bit harder and saying, hey, like, you have an obligation to this program, to this school, to your teammates, and we're going to run this thing. It's going to be a pretty tight ship.
Last one for Coach.
Just how cool is it to see some of the former players here, like a Mason Rudolph, to kind of come back and still support this program?
Yeah, there's been so many players. We opened it up for everybody all spring, every practice, meetings. They can come in here anytime they want. This is the place that they built, right? And so we had an alumni golf tournament yesterday. 140 alumni were here, and so it's so cool to be able to be around those guys and hear the stories and talk about the memories when they were here and the camaraderie in the locker room. And just how much they love Stillwater and coming back, how it really sparks those memories when they're driving into town. So been phenomenal having all those guys back and in all the different eras too, right? And so to me, I always like listening to the stories and how special this place is and why it's so special to them. So it's been really good reception from the former players.